The day before the wedding, I received a USB drive with sweet memories written on the label. I figured it was a surprise for my fiancée. But when I plugged it into my laptop, I discovered it was a video diary of her 100 kisses with Ethan Cole. Watching the two of them, inseparable and lost in each other on the screen, I calmly told Amelia Vance we needed to get a divorce. A few minutes later, her young boyfriend called me, his voice choked with sobs. "Jake, I'm so sorry. I sent the wrong package. Please don't blame Amelia. It was all my fault." Through the phone, I could hear Amelia gently comforting him for a long time before she grabbed the phone and screamed at me. "I'm the one paying for your mother's medical bills. Do you really think you can survive without me?" Then she hung up. I stared at the black screen of my phone and started packing a suitcase. That was the scene Amelia came home to that evening. She walked in, kicked the corner of the suitcase, and said with an impatient sigh, "Do you really think I'm going to fall for this? You're a grown man, Jake. Stop playing these childish games. Do you have any idea how long Ethan cried because of what you said? If you know what's good for you, you'll go apologize to him right now. If you do, I might consider forgiving you." That was Amelia. In our relationship, she always held the position of power. And I, her fiancé, often felt more like her dog. Amelia was convinced I was only with her for the money. The truth was I loved her. In the past, a look of annoyance from her would have sent me into a panic, and I would have stumbled over myself to explain and apologize. But now I just looked at her and said flatly, "Let's get a divorce, Amelia. I'll pay you back every cent." For once, she didn't respond with her usual sarcasm. Instead, she just stood there stunned. "Jacob, can you stop being so ridiculously jealous? Ethan and I grew up together. If anything were going to happen between us, it would have happened years ago. Just use your head for a second, would you?" She paused, then added, "If it bothers you that much, just throw it away, or get it back to me." A bitter smile touched my lips. She couldn't even bring herself to let it go. "It doesn't bother me anymore," I said, "so let's just drop it. This is it." I zipped up my suitcase and headed for the door. Watching me leave, Amelia grabbed the nearest glass off the table and hurled it in my direction. It shattered against the wall. "Don't be so ungrateful, Jacob White," she screamed. "If you walk out that door today, you can forget about your mother's treatment. I'll let her die in that hospital." Her words stopped me in my tracks. I turned to look back at the woman I had loved for so many years. I couldn't understand how she had become this person. I remembered when my mom first got sick, Amelia had held my hand and said, "Jake, your mom is my mom. She watched me grow up. We'll face the medical bills together." Amelia's own mother had died young, leaving her with an alcoholic father who gambled away every penny. When he was drunk, he'd beat her. I was the one who would tend to her bruises, who would always bring her an extra plate of food. The day her father tried to sell her to his debtors, it was my mother who showed up, chased him away, and brought Amelia home to live with us. From then on, we grew up together. That changed on her 18th birthday, when a lawyer showed up with a trust fund her mother had secretly left her. It was a massive amount of money. That day, Amelia threw her arms around me, her voice buzzing with excitement. "Jake, I'm rich. I can buy you and your mom a huge house." Later, after college, I was preparing to leave for a prestigious design fellowship in New York. But the day I was supposed to leave, Amelia confessed her love for me. She begged me not to go, saying she couldn't live without me. So, for her, I gave up my dream and stayed. After she graduated, we got her marriage license and became a real family. But after we were married, she began to change. Her favorite line became, "Don't you know how boring you are, Jake?" The love in her eyes was replaced with a constant look of irritation. I had thought about leaving then, but she promised me a huge, lavish wedding, saying she wanted the whole world to know we were together. I stayed for that promise. But then I overheard her on the phone with Ethan. Her voice was patient and soft as she explained, "The wedding is just to stabilize the company's stock price, Ethan. Don't overthink it. What does some old guy have on you?" In that instant, my heart died. I finally accepted that the love we once had was gone, as fleeting as a dream. But I still remembered my mother's last coherent words to me before her illness worsened. "Jake, Amelia works so hard. You have to help her." I decided I would help her one last time, see her through this wedding to keep the stock price steady, and then we would go our separate ways. But now, I just didn't want to help anymore. It didn't matter if I was the groom or not. Without another word to her, I dragged my suitcase out the door. That night, I stayed in a hotel. For the first time in a long time, I slept soundly. I didn't have to worry about why Amelia wasn't home or lie awake replaying her cruel words in my head. 2. When I woke up the next morning, my phone showed over a dozen missed calls from Amelia. I called her back. The moment she picked up, she started screaming. "Jacob, what the hell is your problem? Could you pick a worse time for this drama? In case you forgot, today is our wedding day. You think this is some kind of threat? Is that it? Well, I'm not playing along. You get yourself to the venue right now. After we're married, you and I will settle this." Hearing her, I almost laughed. What was I to Amelia? A tool to be picked up and discarded at her convenience? I took a deep breath and said calmly, "Amelia, I was serious about the divorce yesterday. This isn't a joke, and it's not a threat. Your company's stock price can rise or fall. It has nothing to do with me." That sent her into a full-blown rage. "Do you think this little tantrum of yours is interesting? Ethan already apologized to you yesterday. What more do you want? And for the record, you're going to be there today, whether you like it or not. You can either show up on your own, or I can send someone to escort you." She hung up before I could get another word in, leaving me no room to argue. Even though I'd already decided to leave, her words still wrapped a cold, tight fist around my heart. I remembered a time, long ago, when Amelia had grabbed my hand, her eyes shining as she swore, "I, Amelia Vance, will spend the rest of my life being good to Jacob White. So you can never, ever leave me, Jake." And I had replied, "Of course. As long as you need me, I'll always be by your side." I didn't cry when I saw the video of her and Ethan. I didn't cry when she called me old and dull. But now, thinking back on those sweet memories, the tears finally came. I changed my clothes, deciding to go to the wedding after all. I needed to put a definitive end to our story. But things rarely go as planned. The moment I stepped out of the hotel, the sky opened up in a torrential downpour. The wait for an Uber was over 30 minutes. So I started running, sprinting down the street as the rain soaked me to the bone. By the time I arrived at the venue, drenched and disheveled, the ceremony had already begun. I stood in a corner, a pathetic sight, and watched as Amelia was escorted down the aisle and placed into Ethan Cole's hands. Their faces were radiant with joy. They exchanged vows and rings. Finally, the officiant announced, "The groom may now kiss the bride." They smiled at each other and kissed deeply in front of everyone. The ceremony ended, but the reporters in the crowd erupted. "Wait a minute. I've seen photos of Jacob White from a few years ago. He looks nothing like this guy. And isn't Jacob White in his 30s? This guy looks so much younger." A forest of microphones and camera lenses turned toward Amelia and Ethan. "Ms. Vance, has the groom been replaced? Can you tell us where Jacob White is?" When we first got together, Amelia was never shy about showing me off. She took me to every event, always telling the press, if it weren't for Jake, there would be no Amelia Vance today. At the time, reporters were touched by our love story, writing article after article about us. Now, Amelia leaned into the microphone and said softly, "Jacob got cold feet." I had to find a substitute. A wave of contemptuous hisses and murmurs spread through the crowd. "That Jacob White doesn't know what's good for him. Ms. Vance treated him so well, and he just runs off. He'll get what's coming to him." The combination of being soaked and the aggressive air conditioning made me sneeze. A reporter standing next to me turned, looked me over, and shouted, "Jacob White is here." In an instant, I was swarmed. The reporter's questions for Amelia suddenly grew sharper. "Ms. Vance, you said Mr. White ran off. Why is he here at the venue? Who is the man you just married on stage? Mr. White is here, but he wasn't the one you married. Has your relationship fallen apart? Ms. Vance, why did you lie? The man you were just kissing on stage, is he your new lover?" The questions bombarded Amelia, one after another. Her face became a mask of pure fury, but she composed herself quickly. "Jake and I had a fight this morning," she said, her voice steady. "I admit, having a stand-in was partly done out of spite. But now that Jake is here, he is, of course, still my groom." After addressing the reporters, she walked over to me, a brilliant smile on her face, and linked her arm through mine. "Go get changed, Jake. I'll be waiting for you." Looking at her beaming face, she felt like a stranger. When had she become such a talented actress? In that moment, I truly understood that the simple, kind girl I once knew was gone. All that remained was a wolf in sheep's clothing, a predator of the corporate world. I was pulled away to change into a suit. As I sat in the makeup chair, the door opened and Amelia walked in with Ethan. I watched them in the mirror, their hands intertwined, and found it laughable. Away from the media, they didn't even bother to pretend. Amelia looked at my reflection and said coldly, "I'm surprised. You clean up nicely. You'd better be on your best behavior during the ceremony. If you mess this up, you'll regret it." Ethan immediately tried to soothe her. "Amelia, don't be angry. I'm sure Jake understands what's at stake." Then he turned to me. "Jake, what happened out there was a last-minute decision. Please don't blame Amelia for it. This wedding is incredibly important to her. Please don't ruin it because of me." Amelia quickly comforted him. "Ethan, stop taking all the blame. This is all Jacob's fault." She then shot me a vicious glare. "Apologize to Ethan now. You're the one who made the mistake, and now he's the one feeling guilty." I looked up at Amelia, who was still holding Ethan's hand, and a chill washed over me. Yes, maybe I was the one who was wrong from the start. Wrong for not leaving sooner. Wrong for holding on to that last tiny sliver of hope for us. But now, even that was gone. I couldn't take it anymore. I let out a cold laugh. Where was I wrong, Amelia? Was it my unexpected arrival that interrupted your wedding to your little boyfriend? Were you that desperate to go public with him? My words hit their mark. Amelia's composure shattered. "It was you, Jacob. You threw a fit. You didn't take this wedding seriously. So what if I replaced you when you didn't show up? Why can't you learn from Ethan? Pay attention to the situation for once. If you were even a millionth as considerate as Ethan, none of this would have happened today." With that, she grabbed Ethan's hand and stormed out, slamming the door behind them. After I was ready, I was escorted back to the stage. The officiant began again, reciting his lines as if nothing had happened. After he finished, Amelia finally made her way to the stage, led by the hand by Ethan Cole. He placed Amelia's hand in mine. I noticed she was still wearing a ring that matched Ethan's. The whole scene was utterly absurd. My wife's boyfriend was delivering her to me at our wedding. The gesture silenced the entire crowd. Everyone stared at the stage with probing eyes. The officiant quickly tried to smooth things over and began the vows. "Amelia Vance, do you take Jacob White to be your husband? To have and to hold, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, to love and to cherish, until death do you part." Amelia glanced at me, her eyes flashing with disgust, before turning her head to look at Ethan, who was standing in the distance. "I do," she said. Then the officiant turned to me. "Jacob White, do you take Amelia Vance to be your wife? To have and to hold, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, to love and to cherish, until death do you part." I stared at Amelia for a long moment. Then I took the microphone and said, clearly and seriously, "I don't." My words were like a bomb dropped on the audience. The reporters instantly surged with excitement. Amelia yanked my arm hard and hissed in my ear, "Jacob, if you don't cooperate, I'm cutting off your mother's hospital payments." I ignored her. Speaking into the microphone again, I continued, "Ms. Vance and I have already separated. We'll be getting a divorce shortly. The man who performed the ceremony with her earlier today is her current partner. I want to thank Ms. Vance for her support over the years. I will repay the medical expenses she covered for my mother as soon as possible. I also ask everyone here today to bear witness. From this moment on, Amelia Vance and I have nothing to do with each other." With that, I turned and walked off the stage. Amelia stood frozen, her eyes wide with disbelief. After all, in her world, I was the one who revolved around her. My greatest dream was marrying her. She lunged forward to grab me, but was immediately blocked by a wave of reporters. "Ms. Vance, is what Mr. White said true? Is the gentleman next to you your current lover? Ms. Vance, can you please explain?" Behind me, I could hear the reporters shouting and Amelia screaming in fury. "Don't block my way. Get out." A hand grabbed my arm. It was Amelia. She looked like a wreck. Her wedding dress was torn in a long gash down the side, and one of her shoes was missing. I looked at her steadily and said in a cold voice, "Is there something else? I thought I made myself perfectly clear." Her usual calm composure was gone. Her words came out jumbled. "Jake, don't go. I'm sorry. Didn't you say you'd never leave me? I'm sorry. Please don't be angry." Amelia clung to me, refusing to let go, tears smudging her makeup into a mess. In the past, the sight of her tears would have broken my heart. I would have done anything, offered her my very soul, just to make her stop crying. But now I just looked at her and said calmly, "It's too late. From the moment you started humiliating me, time and time again, from the moment you left me for Ethan, all those promises became meaningless. The love is gone. Let's just let each other go. We can arrange a time to finalize the divorce. The person you need right now isn't me. It's Ethan." Amelia shook her head frantically. "No, that's not true. I need you. You'll always be my husband." Without Jacob White, there would be no Amelia Vance. She said the line again. In the past, hearing those words made me feel like the luckiest man in the world. Now, they just sounded like a cruel joke. I pushed her away. Not anymore. The Amelia Vance of today has nothing to do with Jacob White. With that, I walked out of the venue without looking back. Amelia, stunned by my words, was left standing alone in the chaos. I went back to the apartment Amelia, and I shared and systematically erased every trace of my existence there. Then, I placed the divorce papers I had printed out earlier in the center of the dining table. Next to them, I put a bank card. It held $100,000, and the pin was Amelia's birthday. For years, I had been taking on freelance fashion design projects. In the beginning, I would excitedly share my work with her, only to be met with ridicule. "Jake, how much money can you possibly make doing that? Besides a grown man designing women's clothes. Do you really think that's a respectable career? Instead of wasting your time on that, you should focus on taking care of me. And whatever you do, don't tell anyone. It's embarrassing." After that, I never mentioned it to her again. In fact, the wedding dress Amelia wore today was my design. I had always hoped that one day she would wear something I created for her. I just never imagined that when the day finally came, it would be so utterly laughable, or that she would wear it while kissing another man. After finishing up, I moved back to my old family home, the one Amelia had never once set foot in after she came into her money. Since my mom had been hospitalized, no one had cleaned it. It took a long time to get it back in order. By the time I was done, it was late at night. My phone was flooded with dozens of missed calls and over 100 unread messages from Amelia. "Jake, where are you? Are you really divorcing me? Please just give me a chance to explain. I was wrong. Please come back." In the past, these messages would have sent me into a tailspin. This time, I ignored them, took a shower, and went to bed. I planned to go to the hospital in the morning. I slept better than I had in years. The next day, I got up, tidied myself up, and prepared to visit my mother. But when I opened the front door, I froze. Amelia was crouched on my doorstep. Her eyes were bloodshot, with deep, dark circles underneath. When she saw me, she scrambled to her feet and grabbed my arm. She was unsteady and stumbled, falling to the ground. For a second, years of instinct kicked in, and my body moved to help her up, but I stopped myself as the memories of the last few days flooded back. Seeing my slight movement, a flicker of hope returned to Amelia's eyes. She held up a container like a precious offering. "Jake, have you eaten? I made you breakfast. It's your favorite Tuscan sausage pasta." I glanced at the container in her hands and felt a bitter laugh rise in my throat. The last time I had eaten something Amelia cooked herself was before my mom was hospitalized. We had just gotten married, and she'd sworn she would make me that pasta for the rest of our lives. I never had it again. Once, when I was sick, I told her how much I was craving it. Her response was a sharp, impatient lecture. "Jacob, can you give a rest? You have hands and feet. Do you really need me to wait on you? Here's some money. Just order takeout." A few hours later, I was scrolling through social media and saw a post from Ethan. It was a picture of a familiar container filled with pasta. The caption read, "Amelia's Tuscan sausage pasta is the best in the world." Thinking of that, I let out a small, humorless chuckle. "Amelia, I have hands and feet. I don't need you to cook for me." With that, I turned and walked away, not once looking back at her sitting on the ground. When I got to the hospital, my mother was still asleep. The doctor called me into his office. He sighed heavily. "Mr. White, I need to update you on your mother's condition. I think you should prepare yourself. Your mother has 6 months at most. You should try to visit more often, and it's best not to cause her any distress." Hearing the doctor's words, my throat tightened. It took me a long moment to force out a choked, "Okay." When I came out of the office, my mother was awake. Seeing me, she managed a weak smile. "Jake, how are things with you and Amelia? It's been so long since I've seen her." You two got married yesterday. I should have been there, but this body of mine. I fought back tears, holding her hand and comforting her softly. We're doing great, Mom. Amelia's just been really busy with work. She'll come see you as soon as she can. The wedding was wonderful. My mom smiled and squeezed my hand back. That's good. My greatest wish is for you and Amelia to be happy. Okay, Mom, I'm going to go get you some soup. The moment I stepped out of the room, the tears I'd been holding back finally fell. I couldn't bring myself to tell her I was divorcing Amelia. I just wanted her last few months to be happy, even if it meant living in ignorance. After I wiped my eyes and bought the soup, I returned to her room, only to find two unwelcome guests. Amelia was sitting by my mom's bed, with Ethan standing beside her. I don't know what Amelia had said, but my mom was so agitated she had thrown a glass to the floor, where it shattered. Panicked, I rushed over and stood in front of my mother protectively. Amelia, what are you doing here? She stammered, startled by my tone. Jake, I just came to see Mom. I don't want to divorce you. From behind me, my mother's voice trembled. Jake, is it true? What Amelia is saying? You want to divorce her, and you ruined the wedding yesterday. Jake, say something. Why did you lie to me? What happened between you two? I was trapped. What was I supposed to say? That I did it because Amelia was cheating on me? Could my mother handle that shock? Before I could figure out what to do, Ethan stepped forward and bowed his head to my mother. Andy, it's all my fault. Jake misunderstood my relationship with Amelia. Please, can you help talk some sense in him? But as he spoke, he discreetly lit up his phone screen. On it, clear as day, was a photo of him and Amelia kissing. My mother pointed a shaking finger at his phone, her voice cracking with rage. Then what is that? Is that a misunderstanding? You did this on purpose, didn't you? Amelia, you throw Jake away and then you come crying to me in the hospital? And you, Jacob, why didn't you tell me the truth? All of you, get out, get out. As she screamed, her breathing became more and more ragged, her words breaking into gasps. I frantically hit the call button next to her bed, shouting for doctors and nurses. Soon, my mother was rushed into the emergency room. The glowing red light above the door made my heart pound in my chest. I collapsed onto a bench in the hallway, completely broken. Amelia sat down next to me and gently tugged on my sleeve. Jake, Mom will be okay. Don't worry. Her words snapped the last thread of my self-control. I shoved her away from me, my voice echoing in the quiet hallway. Amelia, what in God's name were you doing here? Did you want to hurt my mother that badly? None of this would have happened if you hadn't brought Ethan here, and you're still putting on this fake act. Can you just leave? The sight of you makes me sick. Amelia froze, stunned by my outburst. It was the first time I had ever been so furious with her. In the past, no matter how angry I was, I always spoke to her with patience. Now, I wanted to hit her. Ethan immediately stepped in front of me, putting on his pathetic, wronged expression as he bowed his head in apology. I'm sorry, Jake. It's all my fault. I honestly just wanted to explain things to Annie. I never thought this would happen. I had seen this act too many times. He always played the innocent victim while deliberately trying to hurt me. This time, he had provoked my mother into this state, and he was still trying to play dumb. I threw a punch, hitting him square in the face. I knocked him to the ground and kept hitting him, screaming, Ethan, if my mom dies, I swear I'll take you with her. You homewrecker, you wanted to replace me so badly you'd stoop to this. You disgusting piece of trash. You're a murderer. Ethan could only groan in pain. Amelia screamed from the side. Stop it. Stop. You're going to kill him. Somebody help. Jacob, calm down. At her words, I stopped hitting him. I looked at Amelia, my eyes red with rage, and finally roared out all my pent-up frustration. Amelia, if you want to run off with him, fine. I don't care. Just sign the damn divorce papers. If you don't, I'll sue you for divorce on grounds of adultery. Amelia waved her hands frantically. No, that's not it. Jake, I was worried about you. I never intended for anything to happen with Ethan. Can we please not get a divorce? I know you've been hurt lately, and I apologize. Please stop talking about divorce, okay? I frowned at her, my eyes filled with undisguised contempt. Amelia, don't you think what you're saying right now is pathetic? If you're truly sorry, we wouldn't be here today. If you divorce me now, I might at least see you as someone with a bit of dignity. Acting like this just makes me hate you more. Hearing this, Amelia's tears started to fall. She stared at me blankly and asked, Jake, after all these years, is there really no chance for us? I glanced at the still glowing light of the ER and shook my head. Amelia, I gave you so many chances. It's pointless now. You should go. My mom won't want to see you when she gets out. Amelia finally left. Before she did, she threw one last line at me. Jacob White, I will never divorce you. After she was gone, I sat alone, staring at the closed doors of the emergency room. Hours later, the doors opened. I rushed forward and grabbed the doctor's arm. Doctor, how's my mom? The doctor sighed, looked at me, and slowly shook his head. Mr. White, I'm so sorry for your loss. His words made my legs give out, and I crumpled to the floor. In that moment, I hated myself. I hated that I had stayed for Amelia, hated that I hadn't been more decisive. Finally, I numbly walked out of the hospital. Over the next few days, I received a constant stream of messages from Amelia, asking if my mom was okay, asking if I needed any help. I didn't reply to a single one. When she sent too many, I blocked her number. I didn't tell Amelia about my mother's funeral, but she showed up anyway. She stood beside me, as if it were her right, greeting the mourners as if nothing unpleasant had ever happened between us. I didn't want to cause a scene at my mother's funeral, so I simply pretended she wasn't there. After the service ended and everyone had left, Amelia forced a bitter smile. I've been so busy with the company these past few days, I didn't have much time to contact you. I'm so sorry about Mom. I shot her a look and said calmly, Don't you dare call her Mom. You don't have the right, Amelia. Just sign the divorce papers soon. I don't want to see you again. Amelia was silent for a long moment before replying, Jake, I won't divorce you. Mom's greatest wish was to see us happy together. Hearing this, I let out a short, sarcastic laugh. Amelia, you have some nerve bringing that up. If it weren't for you, my mother would still be alive. If you won't sign the papers, then we'll go to court. I guarantee you and your company will have a much harder time with that than I will. Amelia looked at me, her face a mask of pain. Jake, are you really that desperate to get rid of me? I said coldly, We're at this point because of your own actions. You are the reason for this outcome, not me. My words left her speechless. She finally said, Jake, let's talk about this another time. She turned to leave, as if by walking away, she could make my words disappear. I didn't stop her, but I called out, 3 days, Amelia. You have 3 days. It's up to you. I thought the next time I saw Amelia would be at the courthouse to finalize the divorce. But that evening, I got a call from a hospital. Hello, is this Mr. Jacob White? Your wife, Ms. Amelia Vance, has been in a car accident. We need you to come to the hospital. I didn't want to go, but they said it was serious and they needed a family member's signature. By the time I arrived, Amelia was just being wheeled out of surgery. Her face was pale and her head was wrapped in thick bandages. Seeing me, she managed a weak smile. Jake, I knew you couldn't bear to leave me. No, I said flatly. I just didn't want to cause trouble for the medical staff. Since you still have the energy for this, maybe you have enough to come sign the divorce papers with me now. Amelia's smile froze, and tears instantly welled in her eyes. Jake, I love you. I'm sorry. I truly regret everything. I'm begging you. Please don't leave me. I sighed, exasperated. No, there's no love left between us. You're just used to having me around. Give it time, you'll get used to a life without me. Before she could say more, a swarm of reporters burst into the room, shoving microphones in her face as she lay in the hospital bed. Ms. Vance, what caused the car accident? Was it intentional? Ms. Vance, the stock price for Vance Innovations has plummeted. Is it true the company is about to be acquired by Skytech? Mr. White, have you and Ms. Vance divorced? Why are you still by her side? Amelia grabbed a microphone and said with difficulty, I will do everything I can to save Vance Innovations. And Jacob and I will not be getting a divorce. I couldn't be bothered to listen to any more of her lies. I turned and walked out of the hospital. After I left, I contacted a lawyer and filed for divorce. I knew my lawsuit would make Amelia's situation even more difficult, but that wasn't my problem anymore. I just wanted to finalize the divorce and leave this city for good. Amelia didn't show up on the court date. The judge quickly granted the divorce and awarded me a portion of her assets. As I walked out of the courthouse, I saw Ethan. He looked haggard and utterly defeated. One of his arms hung at a strange angle. The moment he saw me, he rushed over. "You must be so proud of yourself right now. Because of you, she's trying to get rid of me for good. She broke my arm because of what your mother said. If it weren't for you, she and I would be together." I resisted the urge to punch him and said coldly, "Did I do any of that? She broke your arm. She's kicking you out because she's bored of you. I was with her for years, and she still found you. If she could leave me for you, she can leave you for someone else. Don't you get it?" Ethan collapsed to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. I did so much for her. How could she? How could she? I didn't spare him another glance and walked away. In the following days, news of Vance Innovations being acquired was everywhere. But none of it mattered to me anymore. I packed my bags, ready to leave Chicago and chase the dream I had given up years ago. On the day I was leaving, I saw Amelia waiting for me. She was so thin she looked like a ghost of her former self. I pretended not to see her and turned to get in my car, but she stepped in my way. "Jake, I'm sorry. I was wrong all these years. I don't mean anything by this. I knew you were leaving, and I wanted to see you one last time." I nodded. "You've seen me. Jake, can we still be friends in the future?" I shook my head. "No, I don't see any reason for us to be friends." Leaving her with those words, I got in the car. In the rearview mirror, Amelia's figure, frozen in place, grew smaller and smaller until it vanished from sight. My life was just beginning. I always thought Jacob was the one who couldn't live without me. So when he first mentioned divorce, I assumed it was some new tactic he'd learned to threaten me. It wasn't until the chaos at the wedding, the first time in my life I had ever truly lost control, that I realized what was happening. And just like that, we were divorced. After he left, I found myself thinking a lot about our past. My mother passed away when I was very young, leaving me with a father who was an alcoholic and a gambling addict. I always had fresh bruises on top of old ones. It was Jake who took care of me. The day my father tried to sell me, Jake and his mother, my Aunt Sarah, saved me. They rescued me from my father and gave me a new home. In high school, Aunt Sarah's health started to decline. She was always on some medication. At the same time, I was being bullied at school for my tattered clothes. I didn't want to be another burden on her, so I endured it in silence. Until the day Jake found superglue stuck to my skirt. I had never seen him so angry. He became incredibly busy for the next few days. A week later, he gave me a brand new dress he had bought with money from a part-time job. He made me wear it and walk me to school. There, he found the kids who had been bullying me. I don't know what he said to them, but after that day, no one at school ever bothered me again. Then, on my 18th birthday, the lawyer showed up. I inherited a huge sum of money. At first, I was ecstatic, thinking I could finally repay Jake and Aunt Sarah. But I had learned from a young age how important money was. I founded Vance White Studios, naming it after both of us. The studio slowly grew into a company, and as it did, my satisfaction with Jake dwindled. That's when I met Ethan. The truth is, I knew about most of the things he did to Jake. I wasn't even that fond of him, but he brought a spark of novelty to my otherwise dull life, so I let his manipulation slide. Eventually, Jake found out about Ethan. He confronted me, and I just thought he was being overly dramatic and sentimental. It wasn't until he walked away, so decisively and without a second thought, that I finally understood that all those little hurts had grown into thorns in his heart. I tried to get him back, but even when I was in a car crash, all he could think about was the divorce. I didn't show up for the final court hearing. By then, I knew the company couldn't be saved. The divorce would at least leave Jake with something. But I was still clinging to a sliver of foolish hope, so I went to see him one last time before he left. He said there was no reason for us to be friends and got in the car. In that moment, I knew, for the rest of our lives, we would only ever be strangers.